I saw 7852, which is the documentary that examines the Psycho shower scene.
Yeah, I want to see that, man.
And it's on the whole, it's a very worthy examination of Hitchcock's art. There are one or two interview subjects that offer absolutely nothing to the proceedings. So I guess he just kept them in there because he didn't feel bad to cut them out since they gave their time. But, just a lot of just looking at the screen going, oh, wow, and trying to prophesize about things that they don't know about and making references that make it obvious that they know nothing. This is just like that scene in Jurassic Park. So, there are a few moments like that, like this really stupefying bits of analysis from people that shouldn't be involved. But on the other hand, they do go into the background of Hitchcock leading up to Psycho very briefly and only in service to what Psycho accomplishes. And they go through the times, both cinematically and culturally, that Hitchcock was playing in when he created Psycho. And then they really do. Walter Murch goes frame by frame in the shower scene. Walter Murch in particular. Like he gives you average cut lengths, the subjective points of view in various shots, why he might have made this decision over the other. And there are enough illuminating bits that make it very much worthwhile to watch. Like there's a whole sequence when he takes the painting off the wall and looks through the peephole. There's a whole sequence where they examine what that painting is and what that painting says about the themes of the movie. And most people are like, I know that he took something off the wall, but I didn't know it had significance. And as a matter of fact, the painting itself does have significance. And it's incredibly eye-opening. It gives you such an appreciation of, this instinctively that nothing was in the frame by accident in a Hitchcock film. And this absolutely confirms it. I think it's nowhere near the cinematic kind of punch-drunk experience of, Jodorowsky's Dune or something. But I think the best that we've gotten to that this year. So it has potential to make the bottom of my top 10 if I don't see anything else that impresses me as much. But
here's a question. Did they go into it all the sort of the contentious
Sal Bass?
Yes. Yes, because just to explain to people, Saul Bass claims to have directed the shower sequence. I'm not quite sure if he claims that he was in there actually in the director's chair telling people to do things, but he definitely storyboarded it. And I would assume that he storyboarded it with, Hitchcock, over his shoulder or something, but I don't know the details of that. Do they go into that?
Yeah, they do. And there was some review that I read, I forget the site now, but I left a comment because the critic, he genuinely liked the movie, but he said it's so odd that there's not even a single mention of Saul Bass in the movie. I'm like, yeah, there is. They talk quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So that tells me right there that he wasn't paying attention when he was watching the movie. They do talk about him. They talk about Hitchcock having him make up the storyboards, and then Walter Murch and others talk about how Hitchcock's impromptu shots and points of view in a couple of those moments deviated from Saul Bass. So they were like, well, that shows you right here that Hitchcock actually directed the thing. But it's not. That's not an unusual thing. Saul Bass was a unique visual stylist that Hitchcock trusted, and so he had this idea, and he said, "Could you put together a storyboard of maybe some quick shots of how a shower murder would go?" Because 1960, it's a very delicate. You got a nude woman, you got a knife. A stabbing death that's going to be told from all these different angles. You can't show the knife going into the flesh, obviously. You can't show very much flesh. I am shocked that they showed as much flesh as they did in that scene in 1960. It really gives you a great appreciation for how far he took it back then. and what that single scene birthed, and that he knew how important that scene was because he shot it in private, and he took 4 weeks to do it. That was it was a quick production. Psycho was. It was a TV production. He used all of his TV production crew. It was cheap, and he spent 4 weeks on that scene. He knew that was the watershed moment. But Sal Bass is mentioned, and his contributions are celebrated, but not overextended like a lot of people want to think that he actually directed it. You know, it's obvious that it's Hitch's movie. It's Hitch's concept to begin with, to do the shower scene in that manner.